thank you all for attending the staff meeting. It's a bit different because it's going to be done via Skype. But what we'll do is hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions you have. We have had some emails through, which we will cover towards the end of the staff meeting. What we'll do first of all, like we do normally in any staff meeting, we'll go around to say who's present, but I can actually see on the video link, you will be able to see people's names anyway. But just in case there's new members of staff who actually you haven't met before, you haven't even seen, so it's a good opportunity. So I'll start by saying I'm Karen Samuel, Operational Registered Manager and chairing the staff meeting for today. And
good morning, it's Alison Hauser, Chief Exec. Good morning.
Anybody next, Sarah?
Sarah Bailey, the Care Coordinator for Ceredigion.
Julie?
Hello, Julie Davis, Care Manager for Crossroads and Llanelli.
Sue? Angela? Erica?
Hi, good morning. My name's Erica Wasp. I'm the Finance Manager.
And Joe? Joe?
I'm Jo Silverthorne. I'm Service Development Manager.
And last but not least, Kelly, Lynn?
I'm Kelly, I'm the Care Coordinator in Carmarthen.
I'm Lynn, I'm the Care Manager in Carmarthen.
Thank you all. I think Sue had her mute on, so we'll just quickly just say that was Sue Hoff, Care Coordinator for Carmarthenshire. I think we're going to have a few technical hitches where people are going to forget to put their mute buttons off as well as on. So we'll go through the organisational meeting. Right, so just start. We are recording this and everybody has consented to be recorded. And what we will do now is talk about, apologies, I can hear my dog in the background. So I'm just going to send the dog out. Bear with me. Apologies. Can you hear me now? Yeah? Yeah, sorry, the dog's just come in and I would just have a bit of a distraction, so I do apologise. But at least you can tell we're all human. Anyway, to start off with, we'll look at the organisational COVID update. Just to state that within Carmarthenshire, the number of clients and self-isolating within the Carmarthenshire plan of cancel calls will have to be reassessed before any future support calls can occur. But however, within Ceredigion, this is not the case, and the clients will return to their current support packages before isolation. And I know that's something that Sarah is going to cover parts of Ceredigion as well. So basically, before isolation and lockdown occurred, so we're in a very unprecedented situation which we're in, and we have to use different parts of technology to make sure that we're abiding by the risk regulations and the organisational policies, procedures. There is no, with Ceredigion, they are stating that there's no plan to reassess before the service is to restart. However, there's some assessments taking place during the period that could have bearing on some of the staff starting again. I'm going to pass over to Erica, who's going to give you the numbers of clients self-isolating, which will cover an idea of where we are with staff and how staff are currently furloughed, and just give you an idea of the numbers really. So I'm going to pass you over quickly to Erica, who can give you an overview of Carmarthen, Llanelli and Ceredigion. She's going to cover the numbers of clients that are self-isolating and not receiving a care, and the number of clients who are receiving a care. So hopefully that should be able to give you an idea of where we are within the organisation. So if I can pass you over to Erica now.
Right, the number of clients at present self-isolated in Carmarthen is 78, which includes some of the Haven-Glebe Day Centre clients as well. In Llanelli, we have got 87 clients self-isolating. These two include some of the day centres. In Ceredigion, we've got 38 clients self-isolating. So with the numbers clients who are receiving the service, in Carmarthen, we have got 82 clients still receiving the service, 48 in Llanelli, and only 3 in Ceredigion. With the Ceredigion, I know that Sarah Bailey will be able to give you more of an update. But those are the figures at present.
Thank you.
Karen, you're still on mute.
Am I off mute? Oh, fun technology.
I'm on mute. Sorry, Karen.
Do you want to cover Ceredigion?
Yeah, we've furloughed all of the staff in March, well, start of April, in the north and the south of Ceredigion. Over the last couple of weeks, we've taken 2 staff out of furlough due to having some emergency calls coming through. And we are starting to see some carers after the long period of isolation starting to struggle a little bit. So we are looking at staff being available to support. The uptake is currently fairly low because we're only a couple of weeks into it. So we will be keeping all staff updated on where we are with this, and future plans, if we need to take more staff out of furlough then. So we've just got a small number of clients at the moment that are receiving support.
Thank you, Sarah. Julie, would you like to, is there anything you want to comment in regards to the Llanelli team with furlough or staff that are covering at the moment?
Me and Angela do regular meetings on the Monday to look at the hours and what staff we can bring back or go off on furlough. So we do that regularly every Monday. I've just had a call from Dylan Morgan regarding the client I spoke to Erica about yesterday, but I'll speak to Erica after about that as well. So
quite similar to Sarah then in how staff are feeling, perhaps.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. Lynn and Kelly, is that Sue, is it very similar in Carmarthen?
Yeah, we've had a few new ones, but nobody's really come back lately.
Okay.
Some of them came back with shorter hours, but nobody who's been on the terminated list from day one has had any interest to come back. So we've had quite a few new ones.
We have had hours were cut back for people, but they've extended hours now. So in a few weeks, they'll be back to full capacity of the hours. That's quite a big package.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I can see Erica's got a hand up.
Yep.
Erica?
But she's on mute.
What I just wanted to confirm was the number of staff presently on furlough. In the Carmarthen area, it is 22. In the Llanelli area, it's 31. And the Ceredigion now will be the 6. But with the hours, as Lynn just said, there are some hours coming back in the Carmarthen hours. They have gone up by 67 hours this week, which is a good sign. Llanelli have increased by 18 hours this week. So there is a little bit of movement that it is gaining, that the hours are starting to come back in, though slowly.
Erica, can you actually give the figure how many hours are being in comparison to what we were doing before lockdown and what we're doing nowadays?
Before lockdown, we were doing 3,000 hours per week. At the moment, it has been since lockdown on between the 1,100 and 1,200. But this week is the first week that it's going up to 1,300 hours. So where we were this week in Carmarthen, there was 834 hours provided. Llanelli had 504 hours provided. So it is creeping up a little bit from when we first went down into lockdown.
Lovely, thank you, Erica. I can see Joe's got a hand up.
Yeah, just to explain, Karen mentioned earlier that Carmarthenshire care packages are going to have to be reassessed. We have been in regular discussions with the local authority, the Health Board, and also Carers Wales and Carers Trust Wales on a national level to try and campaign to make sure that families don't have to go through the reassessment to be re-referred and reassessed to see if they need their care packages reinstated. So just to offer reassurance really that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that we get back to the sort of normal level of service delivery, and to make sure the families don't have to go through the whole process again of explaining their situations and why they need support. So
yeah, I can only reiterate what Joe said. I said we are working hard behind the scenes, and the biggest concern is that the family is going to be losing out. But the knock-on effect, as I said, being a hybrid provider, the knock-on effect is that not only the family is going to be losing out and have to go through full reassessment, they're going to be absolutely worn out coming out of this isolation. And there could be people who've had services for 2, 3, 4 years and have already gone through the process and is more than justified. But unfortunately, what we're being told is they're all going to be reassessed. But we are expressing the concerns as far as the Welsh Government, because I know they changed the Social Care Wales Act, a new legislation for a year or two. But we're keeping on top of it because we don't want the family carers to lose out. And the knock-on effect is, in the Crossroads regulated service, is that there's going to be a slow return to work, a lot slower than anticipated. So it could be in a position, the family wants us back, we've got staff to go back in, and yet we can't do anything because we might be held up by local authority, a social worker assessment or brokerage even, but we're keeping on top of it.
Thank you, Alison. I think that's from previous.
Sue, your hand is up?
No.
Mine is.
Do you want to comment then, Sue? Before we move on.
Yeah. When we had to terminate a lot of the clients, they were told that they would have to go through the social worker. But like you say, a lot of the clients that we've had don't have the social workers anymore because they shut the cases. So what we're saying, that's going to delay a lot of these people coming back who have been with us quite a few years. But the newer ones, maybe they will get back to us quite soon because a lot of them have still got the social workers. And I've been speaking to like the brokers and that, and they weren't aware of all this. But now obviously they are, because they just thought that they could send the contracts through if they've already got the hours. But now we're being told they have to go through social workers, which is going to cause a lot of pain for a lot of these clients because they don't know how to go through Delta Wellbeing. You know, they've got to apply themselves. You know, and if they're elderly,
support them, Sue, and again,
yeah, that's it. So it's going to be, it's going to be a different way of doing it. But they're you know, they've got to go online and do things like that to do this. So they're going to need a lot of support. People that can't access Delta Wellbeing because they can't just ring up anymore. They've got to go through Delta Wellbeing. So I think that's where we're going to be needed to help them do it.
I can see Joe's hand up. Do you want to make a quick comment, Joe, before we move on?
Yeah, just a quick comment, just to explain with the carers information service that we've got. Actually, that's the purpose of that service. Is actually to provide information and also support people. So through the information service and the carers outreach workers, we can actually make the referral on behalf of the carer. So that there's no need for the carer to actually have to complete the referral, the online referral themselves. We can do that for them. So make sure you pass on any contact details to the team, okay?
Yeah, because a lot of them, like you say, they're elderly and they've never done it in the past. It's always been the social workers, so that's good information to give them, so they won't be panicking.
Thank you, Jo and Sue. Well, I'm just aware we need.
Hello.
Sorry.
Regards to the referral, I did one yesterday to Delta Wellbeing for Mrs. and Mr. Jean Clary. Dylan Morgan from the Gwendreth team social worker, I spoke to him and he asked me why did I need to do a referral because of the contract is still active. So
the message is not consistent then?
No, it's not. And I explained about Jake Morgan had said and everything else, and he said, well, he's going to find out about it because as far as he's concerned, the contract for Mrs. Clary is still active and we can continue.
Okay. So what I would say from this discussion is to the staff is that it is very mixed messages. It's going to take a little bit of time, but we will get there to support the carers and the clients. So you'll have to bear with us as a team that we will make sure that the clients who need the support will be able to access Crossroads services. If that's okay, I want to move on to the next thing because I am aware we've got quite a lot on the agenda, which is just to give you an overview because the topic is always comes down to PPE, whether that's for government or ourselves. And just to say that the organisation has obtained PPE from several suppliers, which consists of masks, visors, aprons, gloves and hand sanitisers. We did have goggles, but unfortunately they've been deemed as not appropriate, as in they don't meet the requirements. So they've been taken offline, that's why there's no goggles available. The PPE is stored in 2 locations. It's stored in the Llanelli and the Carmarthen office. However, the Ceredigion team are receiving some supplies of PPE from the Carmarthen. So Carmarthen and Ceredigion are working to make sure that there is a sufficient PPE in the Ceredigion when required. What we're actually doing, to give you just an idea of the background to our PPE, we have to provide every Monday to the commissioners. We have a commissioning team who will ring us every Monday and ask us what masks we have, how many staff we have, and what the stock level is. I have to say that does take an awful lot of time for all the teams, for both, and I'd like to thank both the teams and Ceredigion, Carmarthenshire and Llanelli for having to coordinate how many masks they need, for how many staff, for how many clients. Logistically, it's a bit of a nightmare with figures. So I'd like to say thank you to the team. So when the staff are picking up their masks, it does take a lot of back work of what people are doing to make sure that you're having correct PPE. And again, there are constant changes in what is required for whether it's shielding, whether it's somebody receiving support who has COVID-19 or suspected. So we have to, from an organisational point of view, we have to inform the commissioners on a Monday whether we have enough stock. So they call it RAG rating, red, amber, green. So we have to inform them whether we are green, which is okay, or whether we are red or amber. Red meaning that we are very low on stock or to the point we're running out. And we have to then inform them as well as a question is whether we have any staff, clients or household members, whether that is a member of staff or a client who has or suspected of COVID-19. So there's an awful lot that goes into PPE and making sure that we have sufficient stock available for staff. I can see that, Julie, you've got your hand up. Did you want to is there something you wanted to mention with PPE? Or is that from previous? Okay, that's fine.
Right, Erica, you can click on your hand, it'll go down and then we can see then if it's new hands.
Because I'm thinking there's lots of questions, which is good. Lots of questions and queries is always good for a staff meeting, even if it is virtual. The next thing I want to mention, because I know, and there are questions people have asked about COVID, but we're going to do it as a question and answer session at the end. It's under COVID-19 testing and requests. This is something that Alison has actually been overseeing. So I'm going to pass over to Alison to actually cover the testing with regards to COVID-19.
Thank you, Karen. As you're all aware, we were informed over 6 weeks ago that we could directly refer staff who came forward exhibiting symptoms. We knew they had to be tested within the 4-day gap to be a true reflection. Thank goodness, we only had to make 2 referrals. The first member of staff I referred was actually too ill to go for her test. So, you know, due to her symptoms, how ill she was, we could take it for granted she did have it, but she'll never know. And then the second member of staff we referred, that came back negative, which we were really pleased about. They were very responsive. When it comes to the test, do referral in the evening, as long as it was there before 8 o'clock the following morning, the member of staff was having a contact and being told where to go then to pick the test, because there's quite a few hubs. So I've had good feedback how responsive they have been with the COVID. As you know, things have changed over the weeks, and again we mustn't get confused with Welsh and the English, the government directive. So I did last night email the COVID testing department last night to find out to see if there's anything. One of the questions that were put forward: could staff or anybody go for a test even though they're not exhibiting any of the symptoms? And she confirmed it. She came back to me this morning and she said they would refer them, people would be referred on to the health and they would be triaged. And that's the best answer I could get. But just to let everybody know, staff can actually now self-refer themselves, and they can self-refer themselves on the 0300 number. I'll read it out now. It's 0300 303 8322. But I will put this phone number up in the WhatsApp group. It'll help people and it'll be in the minutes as well. So if you've got any concerns, you can phone, you can refer yourself directly, but by all means, if you've got symptoms, you can get a referral done for you instantly.
Thank you, Alison. The next thing on the agenda is organisational future plans and return to work strategy, because again, there's a lot of staff who are working from home, or we have a mix of some staff who are actually working from home and then coming into the office. So it's not as we remember it has been before. It feels like a long time ago in March. So we have to, like the government and like every other organisation, whether that you might be a shop or a food retailer, that we are looking to slowly have a strategy and safe returns to work with social distancing. So we have to, as an organisation, look at a future plan to get back to hopefully some sort of normal, whatever normal is now in the future. So if I pass you on to Alison and Joe to just go over briefly where we are with that organisational future plan in the strategy of returning to work. I don't know who would like to start first.
Thank you, Karen. As we know, we are awaiting an announcement by the Welsh Government tomorrow. So we feel a bit up in the air at the moment. We can only look at what's happened in England as some sort of guidance, but it's not, you know, it gives an idea, not so much a guidance. The clear guidance will be coming out tomorrow to see what the expectations. And again, just looking at that, the expectations, people are going to say continue to work from home if you can. But in the meantime, as you know, as a senior management team, we've been meeting a lot this last, we're meeting a lot full stop. But we have got now a risk assessment in place, and we've all agreed who's going to be carrying out a risk assessment. We've already started ordering, equipment, and you have to be measuring out about social distancing, the right equipment in place and guidelines. So that's already happening. The next step is actually to come into the offices and carry out the risk assessment, and then clear guidelines would be given. How many staff could be in the office at the same time, how footfall, because it's going to be a gradual increase as the way the Welsh Government are going to be informing us how they expect us to work and perform in our personal lives as well. So I know I'm coming into the office at the end of the week, because I can see, thank you Julie for the rotas, I can see that Julie Duran is in on Friday. So as you know, I've got my own office up the top there that I can work from, but I will be using that to do a bit of catch up, but I will be using the opportunity then to start looking at the risk assessments, and each office will be risk assessed. there's a lot of things to look at. But I said, and we will be expecting to, to communicate with the staff who are working in the offices. And of course, if they have any concerns, I want them to be part of the risk assessment as well. But the rota of people coming in at the office is what I said, it'll be on a rota. So again, so once we have an announcement of the Welsh Government tomorrow, that will dictate to us which path we're going down. And as soon as we know that, we'll get in touch again. Jo, anything?
Is there anything?
Yeah, just to add to what Alison said, that yeah, we're doing regular sort of looking at the risks and trying to ensure that the organisation sort of returns back to normal as soon as. So one of the things that we're doing, like I said earlier, is having regular conversations with the local authority and health to make sure that, we are able to deliver the same level of support for carers moving forward. So making sure that, where possible, Sue mentioned that some social workers and senior carers don't have to be reassessed, just making sure really that the local authority know actually that these carers need support, and just to make sure that we get back to the same level as we were delivering before COVID-19. So.
Thank you, Jo.
Has anybody got any concerns or questions we to bring up regarding the risk assessments? I do expect to speak to everybody once we're doing it anyway.
Anybody? I can see I don't know if everybody can see it, but the screens keep changing all the time. So I don't know whether that's just a glitch in the software, but hopefully it's back to normal now. I can see everybody again. Otherwise I can't. So is there anything else anybody wants to comment on organisational future plan and return to work for the staff meeting for the
going back to the government announcement we expect tomorrow, we do expect that will have some effect on how families, carers, so if they're going to start relaxing where you can be going out and about, of course carers will take a while, but they're going to feel that they can go and therefore will perhaps need our services even quicker. So what Mark Drakeford will announce tomorrow will not only affect how we work from home, it'll be affect what families are able to do outside the work, and then will affect then how much support they will be wanting us to returning to support them for. So again, a lot will return on Mark Drakeford's announcement tomorrow.
Lovely, thank you. If I move on, I know we're back to PPE, but this is specifically to do with staff and PPE. And it's just stating that following guidance, care support workers are to wear masks within clients' homes as a shielding requirement for personal care calls, or if the clients come under the vulnerable risk category. Hywel Dda Health Board, some identified care support workers are working specific care packages have been fitted for appropriate PPE to undertake their call safely, because obviously the clients have complex health needs, so we need to make sure that they are being safely cared for. If you are unsure of whether or not you should be wearing PPE or specific PPE requirements, please contact the office locations and speak with the team for further guidance, because they will be able to give you a little bit more information. And again, even though we are recording this, if you do have any queries, please check with the offices in regards to PPE. Is there anything that needs to be highlighted within the teams that needs to be discussed? Carmarthen, Llanelli, Ceredigion? Anything? No? Lovely, thank you. Okay, I'll move on to furlough, because I know that's something, and there is a question further on with the question and answer session with regards to furlough. Just to explain, so many staff are currently furloughed, which I know is proving very challenging for various reasons. And I do apologise that it's uncertain in the duration of how many people are furloughed. Staff are querying how long are we going to be furloughed for, what is the length of time. It is uncertain. We do not know that answer at this moment in time, because as we've mentioned earlier on, because of certain clients are self-isolating escalating. That is proving difficult to know when staff are due to come back off furlough. And there is, as Erica has mentioned earlier, there is some movement with that. But I would say when staff are returning to furlough, from furlough, it's because the support is being resumed. So we are trying everything we can to ensure that people who are furloughed for a reason. I will then pass you on now to Erica, who will cover, basically, I know you have had letters with regards to payment, but just in case there's something that perhaps you haven't fully understood or are not quite sure about payments with regards what you get in your wages, and I know you have received one wage slip and are due to receive another one next Thursday. So if I can pass you on to Erica, who will just briefly cover the payment side of it. Thank you, Erica.
Thanks, Karen. Right. At present, we are following all the government guidelines, whereas we are for furlough, which is 80% that we are paying at the moment for the staff who are on furlough with us. We do know that this has been extended. It was supposed to be till the end of June. It has been extended until the end of July. And you will have heard on the news that there's then a part-time after, from the beginning of August, that the organisation's got to pay some money towards the furlough. At present, we don't know what is happening, we will be following the government guidelines on it. So until we are told, more than likely be before the end of July, you would expect, that we know what the next phase is from August. So at the moment, we can't answer anything from them. We just know that up until July, we have still got the 80% furlough in place. This furlough has been, you'll have had your letters, it'll have done by either the average of the 12 months last year, or it'll have been on the April pay of 2019, whichever was the greatest, and that's how your furlough has been worked out. So at present, as I said, we don't know when what the government are going to come forward from August, but from now, even though we're paying the 80% for our staff, we do give additional payments. Once you've done your online, you've done your training, you've done your supervision, all these are paid at 100%. They are calculated so that you're paid 100% of your pay on it. The same for annual leave. Your bank holidays were paid at 100%. So if anybody wants to take any annual leave during this time, that week, say you took a week's annual leave, you'd be paid 100% of your pay for that time. So if anybody wants to take annual leave, please contact me. I have had some who have required it just to top up their pays, so just to make it a little bit more manageable that way. But with others, as I said, there is a question and answer at the after this one now on the furlough payments, and one is regarding having extra to work it out. Some people, if I can say, if you're on a 16-hour contract, you will have had the average of what you worked before. So you might have worked 24 hours previously or more, so that your pay was done out on that average, not on, say, the 16 hours or the contracted that you were contracted to. Everything is done on the average of what you worked. So that's all I'm going to say on the furlough at the moment, and it's just a case of that we're trying to bring people back. So as soon as the hours are there, people will be asked to be brought back. We do realise that, you know, some have been gone into furlough because they have gone into self-isolation. But with the staff, I am in contact with both teams then every week, just to make sure if there are any other calls or if there is anybody that needs to come off the furlough. This week now there'll be the furlough payments being sent through to the HMRC again. But as you were aware that any number of staff every Monday, the girls are doing, when they're doing their notice, they do go and check the hours against the staff members that they have got at that particular time. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you, Erica. The next question, or the next thing that's on the agenda, is SurveyMonkey, and the questionnaires that you would have received from via Messenger. If I pass you over to Joe, who will be able to briefly go through just the questionnaire, as in why we decided to go down that route. So Joe?
Okay, thank you, Karen. Just to explain the purpose of the survey, we wanted to know from carer support workers actually what concerns you might have during this period. Very aware that, especially for the staff that have been placed on furlough, that obviously any changes to their regular routines and the potential impact of being placed on furlough, so for example loss of income for your families. We wanted to know really if you had any suggestions as to what more we could be doing as an organisation to support you. So as of this morning, 57 staff have completed the survey so far. I did post an update yesterday to explain that the survey will be closing on the 29th of May. So this will allow us to actually pull all the information off and to analyse it and look at, you know, what suggestions people have got. But it doesn't mean that we don't want to hear from you after that. So if there's anything, you know, that people still feel hasn't been addressed, you know, just to keep the communication going with your line manager. But some of the figures from the survey so far, it's really obvious that coronavirus and the restrictions is having a massive impact on people's anxiety levels. So 86% of you said that you're really anxious about the impact of everything on your families, and also the impact on the organisation. 82% of people that have filled out the survey have felt really supported by the organisation and by their line managers. And some of the suggestions that we've had for ways that we can improve support is just to keep you updated. I know Alison did the video link on WhatsApp. Some of you have commented that was really helpful to know actually what we're doing behind the scenes to support. And also to try and get some suggestions as to what more we could be doing. And I know Alison has had regular meetings with colleagues in other parts of Wales to look at what they're doing to support their staff. So we are having those conversations. So just to urge those of you that haven't completed so far, if you can spare 5 minutes, it won't take long, just to fill out and to offer any suggestions that you've got, to let us know what more we could be doing, really.
Lovely, thank you, Jo.
Thank you, Jo. Can I just reiterate, Cara? Sorry, can I just reiterate what Jo has said? As I said, you know, we're really looking at opportunities to get extra support into staff for those who need it. I've got a meeting later on with my colleagues up from North Wales and Mid Wales, opportunities of accessing grants to look at support specifically for staff, which is unusual in this day and age. But under this pandemic, grant givers are understanding the effect it's going to have on staff, and we need to continue to support staff. So I said, hopefully we will get something up and running quite soon. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Just to briefly cover that, I know we mentioned it previously that there's health cards available, that Social Care Wales have issued health cards. I have previously mentioned that you should have had an email link, or in the post by now you should have had a hard copy, a bit like a credit card look-in of your health card. If you go on to your Social Care Wales website, your own account, it will tell you what you can, they're constantly updating the benefits of that health card, to make sure that you are checking what you are eligible for with a health card. And also, if you haven't received it because for some reason you're in the process of registering with Social Care Wales, please can you drop me a line, an email, or ring the office to just pass a message on, and I will ensure that you will have a health card link sent to you by Social Care Wales. So what I would say, they are continuing to try and improve the benefits with Social Care Wales in this health card, recognising the organisation, recognising the work you do. And I think even though COVID-19 has brought more recognition in a positive way of what healthcare workers do in the community. So I think to a certain degree, not a very situation we're in with the pandemic. However, the awareness of the quality work that healthcare workers do is actually demonstrated with this health card now. I'm just going to briefly, as we're on Social Care Wales, just to state that currently we have 132 staff now registered with Social Care Wales. I think we are probably about 9 to 10 members of staff remaining. The Social Care Wales have relaxed their registration conditions, which means you might be working within Crossroads at the moment thinking I'm not registered and it's past the 1st of April. They have extended and relaxed their conditions. They haven't given a timeline now as to when you should be registered, but we should finish hopefully by the end of this pandemic, whenever that will end. Yet registered, please let me know if you're still needing to complete and register an account with Social Care Wales, because I know that a few of you who are still not sure as to what to do. But again, we're 132 staff now currently registered, with a few left to go. I will now pass you briefly on just to say about the training and e-learning, whether Julie or Lynn would like to comment anything in regards to e-learning and notifications that they've sent staff to complete their e-learning. So I don't know, Lynn, would you like to start first?
Yeah, when we add on to staff, we usually send them a text to say that we've added another one on. I think everybody's doing quite well at the moment. I don't think we've got many outstanding. So
lovely. Yeah. So again, if you are getting an email or a link from Lynn, please, now is the opportunity and the time to complete your e-learning. And I don't know if, Julie, have you got any comment or anything you'd like to add with regards the e-learning and the training requests that you're sending out?
Yeah, we've had some, we get one free from Social Care every month, and the hand hygiene training is due this month, so they expire in the end of the month, so you'll have a new one next month. So I have sent out to everybody to have a go at it, so it's good.
Can I just say as well, I had an email from local authority yesterday to me complete a survey which I did last night, and it's asking about online training. So they've asked us what we are doing. So we use usually iHusk on Social Care TV. I think, as I said, they are now reviewing, due to this pandemic situation, far more greater opportunities for online training, and I can understand that they would be sharing it with us in the third sector and the private. So we'll have to wait and see. So I've completed the survey and I've sent it off, and we'll just wait and see what they're going to come up with any offers. Sarah Bailey's got a hand up. Sarah?
Yeah, in regards to the Ceredigion team, I think I've sent out some for the Social Care TV, but I've also been sending out Hywel Dda website have got some new training on there. I know a few have already done. There is a manual handling training on there, which is it's the practical training. So it consists of watching videos just as an update for people that have already done manual handling training before. And I know other staff in Ceredigion Council are using that, and other agencies as well, because obviously there's difficulties in getting staff together to do practical training. So that's just an update. There are other updates on there as well, which are quite helpful if you want to have a bit of a browse through. The links have been sent through.
Thank you for that, Sarah. It's good to know, because we usually rely on local authority. I don't think we were aware of anything that's going out from Hywel Dda. Correct me if Julie and Lynn already know about it. But thank you for sharing that.
And I again, thank you, Sarah, because I was actually going to say, Sarah had something to do with the manual handling training. But also there was a link that came through yesterday from the local authority from Carmarthenshire, asking to fill in a query questionnaire, because they're looking at future training, which are normally classroom held. They're looking at doing more of a digital side. So they were asking basically what methods of equipment our staff have to be able to access digital. So I think in future, we're going to be going towards more digital training, e-learning, as opposed to more of classroom learning. So just wanted to add that. I think, and I believe I've sent the links to the care managers to complete as well. So if they've got an input into what the staff might feel helpful for doing the e-learning training as well, class training stroke Skype, I think is going to be the way forward for the rest of 2020.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So, Lynn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way forward for the next year. Right, if everybody's happy, I'll move on to finance paperwork and timesheets. That if there's anything that Erica, because we always mention a finance side of it for the staff meeting. So is there anything, Erica, you need to clarify, query or question? Okay.
Yes, Karen, thanks. What it is with the paperwork and timesheets, we still got to have the client, require the client service sheets to be brought into the office or sent in, because the Carmarthenshire County Council still require these so that we are able to invoice them. So without them, we don't get any payments in. Timesheets, so thank staff, they have been emailing the timesheets in and sending them in via the office. Great, thank you. There is the B app. That's the only one big concern I have with the B app at the moment. I have done an audit on it, and there is a lot of issues with the logins. At present, I see sometimes that, and I just want to know if the staff can let me know if there's still issues with night shifts for logging in and logging out. This was an issue that had been brought up, and it should have been rectified. With some night shifts, I can see that they can log in and log out correctly. With others, they're still not doing it. Whether the staff aren't logging in, thinking there's going to be an issue to it, not realising it's been rectified, and that is it, it's a staff issue. But if it is an issue with logging in and logging out for that one, it's the same. I've seen one then for, say, a 6-hour call and logged in, but never logged out. I want to know whether or not that had been logged out beforehand so that we can sort out the issues there. There are some clients I have looked that they've never been logged into. There is about 8 clients that I picked up on that they're all, as far as I'm concerned, they're all in the red. Nobody has signed in, nobody has signed out. That is one I'm going to bring up to the care managers afterwards, just to ensure that all the barcodes have gone out to the clients. If there are no barcodes in the homes, can you please inform the office that there's nothing there so they can put it in? With other cases then, I can, some people are really, really good at logging in. There are others then, they do it when they want. And I see some people have gone worse since we've gone into this pandemic, where they think, oh, I haven't got to sign in. But it's a case of everywhere, please sign in to the calls, please log out. There's one I will bring up, is in the Fields House. There's only one member of staff who signs in there every week, and nobody else does. There is another 2 staff that have done it sometimes, but it's only one member of staff who signs in every week. It's the same then in the Dean Harris. In the Dean Harris then, it's a double-handed call. One member of staff signs in, the person with them doesn't sign in. And I just don't understand why staff aren't signing in. So this is an issue with staff on those cases. And I do reiterate that all staff are to log in, are to log out. I do need to know as well whether or not everybody has a phone, whether there are some people who are missing who haven't got the phones, whether the new starters haven't got them. That one needs to be addressed as well. If they could let us know, the ones who haven't had it. So please, if you can, please log in, log out of every call, because I am doing an audit on it. We do want to go down that route, so then we haven't got the timesheets, so that the everything can be done via your B app, and it's even to put your travelling could be done via your or the B app as well. So it would help us a lot here. But until we can get you signing in and signing out, you know, it's not working at the moment. Some places are 50-50 whether they'll get signed in. Other places 80-20. And then in this case of 80% will be signing in, 20% not bothering. And it's just those type of things. Those are the ones we need to get got rid of. It's the same as one client in Llanelli used to sign in before the pandemic. Nobody's signing in anymore. So it's just these little bits. So with those, you know, I would say it is the staff there. So if you are mindful, please, that you all sign in and log out. But if you are having any difficulty anywhere, please get back to us, because if I don't know, I can't deal with issues, so that I can have them addressed for you. Thanks, that's all I'm going to say on the paperwork. But all the client sheets to come in, please, for invoicing and to log in and log out. Thanks.
Kelly, I can see you got your
So
hands up. Thank you, Erica. Kelly?
I would say,
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say that.
thank you, Erica, even if you have a virtual.
Sorry, I was just going to mention that, yeah, we've got a few staff here that are waiting for phones, that are new staff that aren't able to log in yet. So I don't know if we are having new phones delivered.
How many would you say, Kelly?
Oh, I know of 3. Any of you?
Any returns?
I got 3 waiting.
Any returns?
No.
Some staff have left?
We've used all of ours up. We haven't got any spare ones in Carmarthen at all. So I was just wondering if we were getting new phones on, or for those staff, or was there another option?
I will sort out the phones. We'll sort out the phones for them, Kelly.
Thank you.
Does anybody else need to raise anything?
Yeah, regards to the fields, some staff, the signal is there, as they've mentioned. It's not good to the fields house. It's hit or miss.
Yeah, but one person signs in every week. And do you know what I mean? So if one person can do it every time that call is,
Yeah.
there should be somebody. There should be more signing in than
there actually is.
I don't think that they think there's an issue, so they don't bother.
No, I understand what you say, but some staff are saying there is signal problems there, and there is.
But if they sign in, once you go into an area, the signal kicks in, Julie.
I don't know, but they are hovering there.
No, it doesn't always kick in.
It doesn't always.
Not in our area.
No.
One staff member.
The print area there is terrible.
I will agree with Julie. That street in particular is very poor on Wi-Fi. But usually when you go, the agreement is, the understanding is that once you go into an area, you drive home, whatever, you will start kicking in. I can imagine it more so difficulties in the rural area.
It can't be. They are trying. They are trying, but it's not getting through.
So what about the other person, and then that, you know, then one logs in, the other one doesn't, you know?
Sometimes they do. It's random.
No, not the fields. I'm on about. With Dean.
I don't know about that. I'll have to find out.
Should we mention this? Because again, this, as it's a staff meeting and we mention specific clients, should we move on and perhaps later on discuss individual clients an issue? Yeah. I just wanted to mention briefly just something that's come to light yesterday to do with care plans, and this is specific for staff not familiar with. You might have done the call a few times or even not at all. Please ensure that if it's on your roster or your rota, that you do not go in blind, that you make sure that you are aware of the care plan and what needs to happen. So again, I think I did mention it previously in a staff meeting, but again, it's come to light again that if you do go and do a call that you're not completely familiar with what you need to be doing, you must ensure that you've had the opportunity to have a discussion with the office to find out what you must, what that care plan entails. So that's all I'm going to be saying with regard to that. Is just to highlight to staff, make sure that you are familiar with the care plan and it is person-centred. Okay. Health and safety. I wanted to, it's more of a health and well-being and a health and safety, just to say that with uncertain times, we feel and what we read and listen on the news is such having an effect on our health and well-being. And what's come to light is some people have listed support that you might wish to access. It's on the agenda because we're all in different situations. Some of us are working from home, some of us are furloughed, Some of us are doing a bit of both. And we're all under many challenges for certain reasons. It could be home.
Can't hear you.
Very little contact with family, friends, can have maybe additional stress. So what I would say is that the organisation is here to support you. And if you are having problems, please contact your line manager of the office. If you feel you're struggling, or even we have added within the agenda, and we can give them out to individual staff, links to health and wellbeing. And that could be, it's been provided to us by somebody within the Carmarthen area. She's a carer support worker. Online yoga sessions, but might be something be quite nice to do in the sunny garden. There's relaxation links, and it's a Google link. Carers Trust, and I know Jo has put it also on the, when she did the survey, it was at the end, and it's also been on Messenger. The legal and counselling helpline, which we have provided previously, is helpful. It is private, it is confidential, and it's something that is a really helpful tool for you to be able to access. Also, another side of it could be financial support and advice, because I know with furlough 80% seems a lot, but for some people with financial circumstances, maybe 80% is not enough. Hubs which are located, you need further information on that, we can find that for you. There's also, you might be aware of council tax and deferred payments. There's also mortgage payments as well you can look at. So there's links there, and I'm very aware that when people are working from home, or you are actually at home and stay at home, I've also added the domestic abuse and sexual violence and helpline number for Wales. We do not know your circumstances, do not know your situation. Aware numbers and helplines that can also support you if you feel living and being at home is also not safe. There is a number I've also added there as well, because as we know, it's also is there anything that I've missed potentially with health and safety or health and well-being that anybody would like to? No? And I can't see any hands, so I will move on. The next thing is just to highlight policies. We're in May, so there should be a new suite of policies. Just to state, please ensure that you have read the organisational policies on infection prevention and control, hand washing. I know the video links have been there, but also the health and safety policy. These are really key policies you need to make sure you're familiar with. So I just wanted to make sure and highlight, as an organisation, we would expect you to be very familiar with these policies. So I just wanted to cover that. I don't know.
And I just reiterate as well, Karen, the health and safety policy, I mean, the process could be completed and update, because there's been a change of staff over the last year or two. So I need in completion of the updated health and safety policy. Once that is done, I will make sure it's circulated.
Okay, thank you. We are coming to the end. I think we're already an hour and 11 minutes. Just to sort of highlight, it's from a previous meeting we discussed about the Crossroads name and the change. Just to say that I did complete, I'll give you a quick brief version of it, but what we will be putting on the Carmarthen website, or Carmarthenshire website, Crossroads, the video that was presentation that was done to the trustees last couple of weeks ago, which will give you a full idea of what we did and what we covered. Just to say thank you all for the people who had completed the questionnaire. It was very interesting to see what the results were, and out of 217 staff, 65 staff completed the survey and the questionnaire. 57 out of 65 wish to keep Crossroads in the name, with other suggestions of a mix of West Wales, Carers Trust, or Welsh word in the name. And I will upload the PowerPoint presentation onto the staff website. but it was something that was quite interesting, and it was quite varied in what people wanted, but clearly people still want Crossroads in the name. So that will be available for staff to look at, and it covers all the names that were actually mentioned and wanted to be used. So thank you everybody, to all the office staff, it was all the care support workers, it was the Carers Information Service, it was the YAC, it was the Key, and it was Catch Up. Everybody was involved in providing their view and their opinion.
I just again, I just thank you, Karen, for pulling this together. And I said, you know, I think we'll all be pleased, as I said, with the outcome of the high percentage is keeping Crossroads in the name, because I do feel, you know, it's a good quality identification for us. We've got a good reputation here in Carmarthenshire. So again, because of Karen put this together, and because you replied and gave your opinion forward, is something that we've got to work with. I have had a meeting, two of us in the senior management has had a meeting with Carers Trust Wales and Carers Trust, and we had a presentation last week on the new proposed branding. This should have been proposed back in March, because we've had a few things going on since then. But again, it's something we need to be coming forward with again. So there's two things going on. We've got the new branding coming on from Carers Trust and with us here in Carmarthenshire, and a new name. So it'll be quite exciting times to pull these together. So again, thank you.
Lovely. If anybody else want to comment, I can't see any hands up. So I'll move on to Joe, which is the next part of the agenda, which is Carers Week.
Yeah, every year in June, there's a national campaign, Carers Week. This year it's been held the 8th to the 14th of June. So we as an organisation usually work with other charities locally and the County Council and the Health Board to put on a series of events, because typically it takes an average of around 5 years for people to actually identify themselves as carers. So that means that a lot of people miss out on vital support. So this year, because of the coronavirus restrictions, we're holding the campaign virtually. So for those of you that like our Facebook page, and those of you that are on Twitter and follow us on Twitter, just so that you're aware that throughout the week we are going to be posting a lot more than usual to make sure that people know how and where they can get support. We're also reaching out to people that haven't got access to the internet through the community support networks that have been set up. So for those of you that live in small villages, or some of the towns like Dwelly Town have got community groups, the volunteers are helping out some of the vulnerable people in their societies. So what we're doing is trying to get them as well to identify carers in their local areas so that they can come forward for support. So just so that people are aware, there will be an awful lot on the newspapers and on television, because it's a UK-wide campaign, and yeah, just for you to support this as much as possible, really, by sharing our Facebook posts and any Twitter things that we do as well. So.
Thank you, Joe. We're coming towards the end of the agenda. What we've looked at now is I sent a messenger, and it also went in an email to staff who can't access Messenger anymore, of questions care support workers have specifically asked. So what we've looked at is the question and an answer session, basically, where Alison and Erica can actually answer the questions. So I don't know if you want me, Alison, to read out the question and you answer it. So,
yes, please.
Okay, so the first question is by a care supporter has asked, Mark Drayford with a £500 grant, government grant, where are we with this as an organisation?
Again, unfortunately, just repeating myself, I said 2 weeks ago, like everybody else, we're very disappointed. We've had no feedback as yet since this announcement that £500 is being given to health and social care staff. I have double checked that this come out yet. So they're obviously putting a plan together. And again, they are in talks with the central government, hopefully people can receive this tax-free. Now, when it regards the criteria, who, how and what will get it, again, that information has not been released, but I can assure you, as soon as I hear something, I will let you know. As when the information was released, we were told the local authority would be allocating it. How much, again, so we emailed the local authority, and again, like us, they are no more in the picture than what we are. So please be reassured, as soon as we know, we will come back to you. The best scenario that everybody will get it, but unfortunately that decision is out of our hands. So we'll have to see if the Welsh Government decide to tell us.
Lovely. Thank you, Alison. The next question was asked, when are furloughed staff likely to be returning to work? If not, in the next few weeks, months, could we go and look for work elsewhere whilst on furlough for Crossroads?
I'll take one part of this, Erica. Again, we've had a new announcement. We got an expected announcement again this week. We're not quite sure the criteria is going to be exactly for August, but what is being put out there that staff will, although we'll be paying 25% or 20% of the wages, staff may be able to return to work part-time. And again, we are waiting for that directive from the central government, because they are in control of when it comes to furlough. And again, what I understand, again, but I will double check, understand that people could go and work elsewhere. As I said, but do bear with us, because we are going to be working hard that the service users and the families will get the service they deserve when everything, we have a clear direction from the Welsh Government tomorrow. But we will get more information on that. I'm sorry, that's as much I can give you at the moment. Erica?
Yeah, to carry on what Alison said, it's with the furlough staff, it's to do with the hours at the moment. As I said, we used to be on 3,000 hours a week. We are now down, we have gone up to 1,300, which is a lot less than what we were before the pandemic struck then. So it's as soon as the hours come in, the staff will be back. But then, as I say, it all depends on what comes through at the end of July with the government, that we'll know then whether we can ease. There is, I know that Joe wants to discuss, there is opportunities where we will be having a summer club. So Joe can, and we might need some staff for that one. So Joe can embellish on that one, and if you would then, Joe.
Yeah, we've had a meeting with the Children's Services and the County Council last week, and they've made it quite clear actually that they want us to deliver over the summer some sort of provision for children with disabilities. So at the moment where we're at is that we're looking to meet with somebody called Eddie Cummins, who's the Health and Safety Advisor for the County Council, and has been working with the schools, with the education hubs, to look at how we can deliver something safely. So we've arranged a meeting with him tomorrow afternoon. So we'll know more about what we can deliver once we've met with him. But most importantly, health and safety, really, we need to consider what we can do, but it will be reduced from previous years because of social distancing and other restrictions. But we will be looking to pull staff in who are on furlough at the moment and involving as many Crossroads staff as possible.
Thank you, Jo. The next question that's come through is again to Alison and Erica, but I think some of it's already been covered. We are paid by Carmarthenshire County Council. How are learning support assistants still having 100% of their wage? I understand some are supporting in the hubs, but not all are. Is this something that could be raised with Carmarthenshire Council? It's a bit unfair if not all are working and still receiving their pay, and we are receiving 80%.
I'll take this, Karen.
So I don't know.
I'll take this. Again, first we must apologise. This trust for the new staff, because it wasn't explained in induction. We are not paid by Carmarthenshire County Council. But I can understand where you would understand that, because the pay slip that comes through the post says Carmarthenshire County Council on them. We actually commission the local authority just to produce our pays. That's the only reason connection we have with the Carmarthenshire County Council besides us being a commissioned service. So you actually are employed by Cerris Trust Crosier Gar, and it's Cerris Trust Crosier Gar that employ you, and that was with your contract with. So again, sorry if we haven't explained this to people in induction, but no, you're not employed by Carmarthenshire County Council or paid by them, so therefore we can't compare what they're being paid compared to us, and their services are different as well. So, but again, if you need this explained, by all means, contact me. I've got no problem with that.
Hello? Previously, can you hear me? Hello?
Signal's quite poor, Karen. You're going in and out.
Oh, right. Sorry, probably somebody else should be recording. My Wi-Fi's not the best. The last question, which I think Alison's already covered, it says, please can you clarify at meeting policy regarding COVID-19 testing? When should we be tested, as tests are becoming available to detect whether we have had it, irrespective of showing symptoms, which I think, Alison, you covered earlier on in the beginning of the meeting.
Yes, Karen, and I will be releasing the phone number. As for the test, as regarding whether we have had it or not, I am not aware that this is going to become available to us directly. But again, things are changing day by day. So as soon as we know something, of course, we will inform the staff by the WhatsApp group. But at the moment, they're testing, we know they are testing people who have got symptoms, you know, and especially in the first 4 days, because that's when we'll be picking them up. But again, I will be releasing the phone number so people can phone up and express their concerns about being tested.
Lovely, thank you. I'm not sure whether the signal is quite poor, so hopefully it's not recording as poor, because sometimes people are fading in and out and some of the sound is going, so I can only apologise. I think this is the first time we've done the staff meeting this way, and I suppose if we are in a situation where the next meeting is in July, I've put to be decided and confirmed when. If we're in this situation where we've got another staff meeting which is due in July and we have to use this method, we will try perhaps looking at a better way of the signal. We'll have to look at it. So I can only apologise if whatever parts of the recording is fading out and there's some poor signal or some voices are a little bit distorted. I apologise, but hopefully within this meeting you've been able to gather most of the questions and most of the queries answered. If you haven't, please ring the office or send us directly an email. What I will do is open it up just to the staff. If there's anybody that you wish to cover something that hasn't been put on the agenda that's quite last minute, that you want to use this opportunity now before we close the staff meeting. But what I would say is a caveat is to say, I know that in the staff meeting, this meeting is going to be recorded. It has been, it will be uploaded on the website, which you'll have to go through the staff area. We will give you the password and username in case you've forgotten. However, please ensure that you are watching the video alone and not with family members present because of confidentiality. And within this meeting, we have mentioned certain clients' names. So I would say make sure that you are watching this video privately and not in front of members of staff, members of your family. That's all I would say, just to ensure that it's kept confidential. So if I go around to everybody to see if they have anything else to add. So, Julie, have you got any thing you'd like to?
No, thanks.
Julie, Kelly and Lynn?
Yes,
Yeah, Lynn's got something.
I'd just like to thank all the staff for the dedication that they've given to their clients and families during this difficult time. So.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, I think everybody would like to voice that the support and the work that the staff have actually provided. We couldn't do it. The organisation couldn't survive without the dedication of the staff, and that's not just the care support workers, it's the office staff and everybody who keeps the cogs turning. If I move on to, I think we've lost Angela, but if I move on to Julianne, because I can see Julianne in the background. Is there anything, Julianne, that I can see she's off mute, so we've lost Angela. I feel like hang on, I'll come back to you, Julianne. Sarah. Sarah, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, just wanted to quickly touch on Carers Week in Ceredigion, the plans currently for that. We're working closely with the carers unit and some other third sector organisations. We will be looking at packs going out to all carers. These will include some wellbeing activities, because we're aware that not everybody is able to access things online. And there'll be a textile project starting as well through for carers to create a small patchwork square that will all be put together. And so we're looking at various bits and bobs that if staff can share that as well, I'll be sending information out on all this as well. But yes, I just want to reiterate what Lynn said and thank all of the team for their support during this time.
Thank you, Sarah. Sorry. I hope we've been able to record that because part of it went in and out. So I'm really hoping the recording was. Who we got left? Sue, do you want to comment?
Yeah.
You wanted to quickly read?
Just like I said, just to thank everybody, all the team, and they know where we are. If they need to come and have a chat, or obviously it's a difficult time, and we're there to support them.
Thank you. I can see Juliana, Angela's not returned, so you can either put your hand up if you want to say something, because I can see it's on mute, and I can run to the computer and unmute it, or is there anything? Can
I just come in, Karen? Can I just come in again? I know people before me have said the same thing, but again, I know at the risk of repeating, but I would like to thank every single person who's been involved with keeping this company, this charity going over the last 12 weeks. And it's even from Rena, the cleaner, bless her, to the care support workers, to the care managers, the care coordinators, and again, from the senior management team. Again, it's been very challenging times. And again, I said, thank you again, Karen, for offering different types of support, because everybody got suffered from sort of anxiety at one point or other. It's going to completely change our lives upside down. And again, as I said, where we feel we're lucky, we are working. Myself is working from home. We are still thinking of the people who are out there on furlough. And unfortunately, again, I wish we could reassure. With a lot of things are the unknown at the moment. There's so many variables which will contribute to decisions we have to make for the future. But as I said, thank you so much for every single person in Crossroads has really made us to carry on as a charity. And for us to start, and we've thought outside the box, changed ways of working with the carers' needs, the family carers' needs at the heart of it. So again, I'd like to thank everybody. And as I said, we should be looking hopefully what tomorrow's announcement to see what our way forward.
Thank you. I was going to give you a closing speech, but you've got that first. The last people, I think, is Joe and Erica. So Joe, is there anything you'd like to raise before we finish?
No, thanks, Karen.
Thank you, Joe. Erica, is there anything you?
That's all I want. If anybody's got any issues, that they can easily email, phone, whatever, and that we'll try and address everything they've got, any issues they've got.
Lovely. Thank you, Erica. And I can see on my screen at the moment whether Angela's returned. So there's only Angela and Julianne left to check. Angela or Julianne, I can't see if you're actually there. So is there anything that anybody wishes now to raise before we finish? Because I can't see anybody else now.
No, I'm fine. Just to say, yeah, thank you to everybody as well, and they know, they've only got to contact us. That's all. If they need anything.
Thank you. Oh, is there anything, Angela? Thank you, Julie. Is there anything, Angela, you need to bring up before we finish?
No, nothing at all. It's just to say what Julie said. Thank you to everybody who's helping out at the moment. It is appreciated. And people, if they take on extra calls, we do appreciate that as well.
Thank you all. Thank you everybody for attending today, even though it's been a little bit strange doing Skype, and I think signal has been really poor. So I'm hoping the recording is not showing.
I'm going to stop the
people...
recording now.